Hi everyone! Welcome back to English with Catherine. I know there are a lot of new subscribers, so hi and welcome to my channel. And of course for the people already subscribed to my channel, thank you for your loyalty and thank you for your support. So I'm filming this video on Bank Holiday weekend in the UK, and today is the 1st of May, so I'm in a really good springtime mood. Now let's get to the video. I've got 10 useful daily idioms for you. Now idioms, as I'm sure you know, are used in speaking. They will make you sound more natural, more friendly, more approachable, and really your vocabulary is only going to get better if you use a few of these idioms. I will tell you the idiom, I will give you a pronunciation tip for each idiom, and then I will try to tell you the context of when you can actually use it. So let's get started with the idioms. Number 1, to call it a day. To call it a day. Now this is a really useful daily idiom. It's something I use a lot. It's something my parents, my family, my friends use a lot. And really it just means the day is finished now. Let's just stop. Let's just call it a day. The day is done. For example, the other day, okay, I did so much in 24 hours. I don't even know how I managed to do this. But after a long day of teaching and filming, my boyfriend and I, we brewed beer, okay? So we made some beer. I also made a cheesecake at the same time. And I also tidied the whole house, and it got to about 9:30 p.m. in the evening. And I was just like, let's call it a day. Come on, enough is enough. We need to go to bed. Let's just stop. You know, very often you will hear this at the end of a working day. The boss might say, let's call it a day. We've done our work for today. We can all go home now. We've done enough. We deserve to go home. And that's how I felt on that evening. I felt like we did so much work and we just deserved, even if we had more to do, we just deserved to stop and just Pronunciation tip. Remember, when we have a in a sentence, we don't really say a, we say So this schwa sound is so important in the British accent. We need to remember that it comes in a. So we say let's call it a day, not let's call it a day. That sounds quite different. Number 2, better late than never. Better late than never. This lovely idiom basically means it's better to do it, even if it's late, than to not do it at all. So an example, my friend gave birth about a month ago. Basically the baby was premature, so I was not expecting it to be born yet. And I had a lot planned. I had to go to Scotland for Easter, then I got COVID. And so I'm only just now, well, yesterday, sending her a gift for the new baby. And I just put in the card, "Dear Natalie, congratulations, better late than never." So really that means I'm still sending you a gift. Look how great I am. I didn't forget. I'm still doing it. I'm still a good friend. It's better late than never. Pronunciation tip. Don't pronounce the R on the end of better. Now, I think I've talked to you about this before, but ER on the end of a word is actually a schwa sound. So it's not it's better, better, better late than never. The same on the end of never. Okay, the ER on the end of never is the same rule. So better and never. Number 3, once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon. I love this idiom. I think I just love any idioms that involve moons. I seem to have this romantic relationship with anything celestial, stars, moon, planets. Oh. So this means something you do nearly never. So very rarely. And really we use it to talk about how often we do something, like any kind of habit. For example, I drink champagne once in a blue moon. And that would be like once every 6 months. That would count as once in a blue moon, because usually champagne is for celebrations, but big celebrations, not just anything. You know, an engagement, for example. But you know, if someone asks you, how often do you play tennis? Or how often do you eat curry or something like that? You can say, ah, once in a blue moon. Hardly ever. Nearly never. Very rarely. Any of those will be fine to say, but once in a blue moon just sounds nice. Pronunciation tip. Make sure to stress blue and moon, okay? Once in a blue moon. Blue moon. It's quite a bit louder, okay? We're still going to stress those two words because they carry the meaning of the idiom. So they need to be a little bit louder and have a bit more emphasis on them. Number 4, under the weather. Under the weather. This is a lovely idiom. I use it a lot. It means to feel unwell, ill. You're going to hear in British English poorly, unwell, or under the weather, or ill, of course. Now this is a bit informal in terms of, let me just tell you not to use it if you're calling in ill to work. So don't call up your boss and say, I'm under the weather. It probably won't sound professional enough. You'll probably want to say instead that you are not feeling well and you won't be up to coming in that day. Under the weather is a bit more of an informal idiom for something like that. But you can use it in everyday life with your friends, family, and even your colleagues, right? It's just a nice way to say that someone is unwell. For example, the other day my friend was supposed to be coming over for coffee and she cancelled, and she said, I'm really sorry, I'm feeling really under the weather. I just don't think I'm going to make it today. And I said, that's absolutely fine. I've just had COVID. I know how you feel. Let's just do it another day when you're feeling better. Pronunciation tip is the same as the other point. The ER on the end of under and weather is going to be a schwa sound. So under, weather, not under and weather. Okay? So under, weather. Number 5, to cut a long story short. To cut a long story short. So this really means that you're not going to tell the whole story to someone. You're just going to give the ending or the most important part of the story. So the conclusion or what happens in the end. Let me give you an example. I love music, but to cut a long story short, I ended up studying English literature at university. So here, there's obviously more to the story, but really, maybe I don't want to bore you with all the details. Maybe we don't have time to go into detail on that particular story. And I just want to give you the end result, okay? So to cut, it's basically to cut down a long story to the main point, the main result, okay? And the other day I was getting a taxi home, and to cut a long story short, we ended up getting really lost and I ended up in a completely different city. So if I was going into detail, I would tell you that the taxi driver wasn't really very good at using his GPS, poor him. And we ended up going all around the houses and he got really lost and I didn't know where we were either. Now for a pronunciation tip, what you want to do is stress the last 3 words. So to cut a long story short, to cut a long story short. You want those 3 words to sort of shine out because they carry the meaning of the idiom, which is generally when you need to stress a word, is the words that carry the most meaning to deliver that idiom to the listener. Number 6, to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. To kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Not the nicest idiom because it talks about bird death, and death of birds is never a good thing. I love birds. But it is a really useful idiom because what it means is you achieve 2 things by doing 1 action, okay? So it's really very efficient way to do something. For example, when I go for my daily walk, this is very important to me. I love my daily walk. I make sure to do at least an hour of walking. And when I do my daily walk, I listen to my headphones to a podcast or an audiobook. So I kill 2 birds with 1 stone because while I'm keeping fit, I'm also learning something by listening to my headphones and taking in the information, okay? So that's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Pronunciation tip, bird. What you want is the sound that you get in her. You know, her, his and her. When you say her, That's the same sound as inside bird, okay? Her, bird. We do not want beard, beard. I hear that a lot. Don't pronounce the R either. Don't be tempted to pronounce that R. Just take it away. Bird, bird. Number 7, up in the air, up in the air. This idiom means an uncertain time. So things feel a bit unsettled. Usually we say this idiom when we're going through a period of change in our life, whether we're moving house, we're moving jobs, we're going through a breakup, something's happened in the family, and everything feels a bit rocky and unstable. For example, things are a bit up in the air at the moment for my best friend. She's selling her flat in Richmond in London, but she's also looking for a new house in Devon. So she's spending her time at the moment showing people around her flat, but also trying to look for a new home. I guess this is the process for everyone when they're moving, especially when you've bought a place and you then have to sell it. It's much more stressful than when you're renting. So things are very up in the air at the moment. She's just not sure what's happening. She can't just do her everyday routine as usual because she's got all of this to deal with on a daily basis. So if you ask Rosie, my friend, how she is, if you said, "How are you, Rosie?" she'd say, "Oh, everything's up in the air at the moment." And that just means I'm stressed, everything's unsettled, I don't know where I'm living right now, I don't know where to call home. You know, that feeling. And that's a really useful idiom to describe that feeling in detail. Without going into detail about how that feels, you can just use the idiom, "It's up in the air at the moment," or "Everything is up in the air at the moment." A pronunciation tip for this idiom, what you really want to do is on the word the, you really want to pronounce it more as the, because it will allow you to easily get to that next word, which is air. So you want to say the air, the air. It's almost one word and not two. You don't want to pause between those. You just want to say the air. Up in the air. Everything is up in the air at the moment. Number 8, to be all ears. To be all ears. Now what do you think this means if I'm all ears? It means I'm listening. You have my full attention. I use this when my friend needs to talk to me about something really serious and they've asked me to either meet up with them for a coffee because they need to discuss something or they are calling me. I say, "I'm all ears, just go, shoot. Tell me everything, I'm listening." So it's a really nice idiom when you want to show someone that they have your full attention. And really, in this day and age, there's so many distractions in life. To give someone your full attention is actually a lovely thing to do. Now you can use this in a more formal context in business when someone wants to tell you about a business proposal or some idea at work. You can definitely say, "I'm all ears, I'm listening." Pronunciation tip. Just be careful of the R in ears, because I know it's quite a difficult word actually, but the R turns into a Y sound. So really you want to say ears, y, ears. And the end letter is like a Z sound, ears, not ears, okay? Don't want to say ears, ears. I will write the phonetics on the screen. Number 9, to see eye to eye. To see eye to eye. To see eye to eye with someone means that you agree with them on something. Now, I will be honest, this is used generally for when you don't see eye to eye with someone. So in a negative context. So you're really going to say, we don't see eye to eye on that idea. We don't see eye to eye on the project. It means me and that person, we just don't agree. We clash. For example, the 2 business colleagues just didn't see eye to eye on the project. And if you want to just talk generally about never seeing eye to eye with someone, maybe you just don't get on, 2 people just don't get on, you can use the present simple tense to just say, "We don't see eye to eye." And that means we don't really get on, we don't have a good relationship because we never agree on anything. So really, that's a nice idiom when describing relationships with people. And that can be quite an important thing to know how to do in English. sometimes it's quite important to talk about the intricacies, the finer details of a relationship between two people. A pronunciation tip for that one: the two is not like a sound of two, it's actually a schwa. You're going to say t, not two. So we don't see eye to eye, and it actually makes it easier to say, which is why we use schwas. They make life easier, okay? Once you've mastered them, of course, you will start to love them because they really are quite easy to use. So eye to eye, eye to eye. We don't see eye to eye. Number 10, to let the cat out of the bag. To let the cat out of the bag. You're probably thinking, what is she talking about? Cats? Bags? What? This is very British. I love this idiom. So the bag is actually your mouth and the cat is a secret. So you've told a secret to someone that you shouldn't have told. So you let the cat out of the bag, and that means to give away some information that you shouldn't have given away. And the feeling after doing this is up there with one of the worst feelings. For example, if someone is having a surprise party and you by mistake tell the person that they're going to have a surprise, oh gosh, terrible feeling. The guilt you get from everyone else as well, you know. This happened to me once when I was much younger. I'm happy to say that I'm not someone that lets the cat out of the bag very often. But for example, when my sister got engaged, she didn't want my mum to find out yet because she wanted to tell her in this sort of surprise way, and I nearly told my mum a few times because I was just so happy about this news. I just wanted to share it with my mum, who I'm very close to, and I nearly let the cat out of the bag. I really had to dig deep and not do that and think, my sister doesn't want me to, I'm not going to do it. But yeah, it doesn't have to be a top secret. It could just be some information that you're not supposed to share. It's probably not very used in business, this one, because it's quite informal and slangy. Pronunciation tip: of course you're going to stress cat, because that word is very, very important in this idiom. So, to let the cat out of the bag. To let the cat out of the bag. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments which one was your favourite. I would love to know. Thank you so much for your support as usual. I really appreciate it, and if you want to hit subscribe if you haven't already, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. If you have any ideas for videos that you'd like to see me making, put them in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Have a lovely weekend. See you next week. Bye.